Hello?
Hello.
I see the 1252 has got a brother.
That's right, yes, the top 1403C with a working width of up to 14 metres.
Does it rake as cleanly as the smaller one?
Yeah, it produces the same clean and tidy results. The rotor unit chassis is the most important feature for the rake's ground tracking. We've fitted the same tandem axles on this model. They make the rotors run smoothly. And then there are two jockey wheels, one inside the arc of the tines and an optional one in front of the rotor unit. This means that no matter whether working up or down, the rotor's always guided smoothly and the tines don't scratch the ground.
Yes, that's right. That fascinates me when I see my neighbour using the 1252. It really produces neat and tidy work.
Exactly, that's what we're known for. And another important feature in this regard is the rotor unit weight alleviation. That's because the lower the weight acting on the rotor unit chassis, the better it can adapt to undulations in the terrain. At the rear, the weight is alleviated mechanically using a suspension spring, and at the front, because the booms are longer and heavier, we use hydraulics.
How does the adjustment and operation of the machine work? Is there a separate control terminal for the rake?
Basically, it's like this. The rake is ISOBUS compatible as standard. That means you can use any tractor ISOBUS terminal, and there are also several of our control terminals to choose from.
On my new tractor I have a joystick, so it would be good if that could be programmed somehow using the control system.
That's right, on many tractors you can make use of the joystick. Then of course you can assign the functions of the rake directly to the tractor joystick. That is then an extremely convenient method. You can assign all of the functions: lifting, lowering, single rotor lifting, overlap control, and so on and so forth.
Overlap control? Is that something to do with GPS?
No, it's nothing to do with GPS. It's actually a lot easier. It's a helpful function for driving around corners. As soon as I turn into a curve, the rotor unit inside the curve is automatically drawn inwards. This means that you always have enough overlap with the rear rotor unit in the curve. As soon as you steer straight again and the rake straightens up, the rotor moves out and you have the maximum working width again. This is, as I said, a helpful function if I have to work round many corners in my fields, where the wedge swath mode could also be helpful, for example.
Wedge swath mode? Does that have something to do with wedge-shaped fields?
Yes, just like the name says, if you don't want to lift the rotor units all at once but offset them one after the other, you select the front two rotor units and the rear ones follow as a function of the distance travelled.
This means I can lift the left one first, then the front right one, and then the rear ones lift up by themselves.
Exactly, and the ones at the rear follow in the same sequence as the ones in front. So first left, then right.
Ah, okay.
It's a helpful function in small fields with many corners and so on. Even there, raking with a large 4-rotor rake is still a lot of fun.
I can see that the rear rotors are mechanically driven with a PTO shaft, but the front rotors are hydraulic. Why is that?
Exactly, we've adapted that from the 1252. The reason is this: at the rear, the mechanical drive is quite sufficient. This is basically the same as a normal centre swath rake. At the front, we'd need a lot of PTO shafts and gearboxes along the boom. The hydraulic drive system is the better way. That's because we save on PTO shafts, the gearboxes, and all the maintenance. There are no grease nipples here. And of course, the hydraulic drive is much easier to install and follows all the movements. This then allows us an extremely large adjustment range of between 9 and 14 metres.
Yes, such a large adjustment range is certainly important, especially because we have quite a few trees and pylons in our fields.
This is exactly what it's meant for, if there are obstacles in the way. I just drive the tractor straight ahead and steer the outer rotor unit around the obstacle. It's easy to control from the tractor cab.
Ah, interesting. And the tyres I'm looking at right now, are they standard?
The 710 tyres are optional. The 620R 22.5-inch tyres are standard, so they're also decent tyres.
Yeah, but that's got to be over 3 metres then, right?
No, with both types of tyre you have a transport width under 3 metres and the rake is less than 4 metres high without removing any tine arms. This means fold it up and hit the road. You don't even need to leave the cab. There's nothing you need to do by hand.
I see. That all sounds very interesting. Can I test the machine?
That's certainly possible. We just have to find your nearest dealership and then we'll see how we can organise a demo.
Z nami osiągniesz sukces.